Welcome, welcome, welcome! I am the goddess of radical self-love, and this is MECA, Make Everyone Count Always. We are a support network for radical self-love, full forgiveness and compassion for the self, following your dreams, passion, goals, and desires, becoming self-care experts, and master manifestors of our dreams, goals, and desires. Our family here values and supports our communities, most vulnerable, care receivers, and those who care for them, caregivers. When our community's most vulnerable, care receivers, and those who care for them, caregivers, feel valued and supported, the rest of us are assured we are valued and supported as well. Correct? Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much to all our new subscribers. Thank you for your likes, comments, shares, and donations. So much gratitude for you all. Thank you for your love and support always. And today is Self-Transcendence Thursday. Transcending the self. Yes, I have been thinking a lot about how I can make transcending the self clear. And as I've been doing that, I personally have been getting downloads for myself. So it's very interesting. Well, even today's lesson. So on Thursdays, Self-Transcendence Thursdays, we utilize the work of my boyfriend, Malsow. And we are on the end chapter of Defense and Growth, or the end of that chapter. And we are going to cover his notes from that chapter today. Normally I wouldn't, but I read through them again, and they're so true to what I recently have been getting messages about, not having things be the end result and just finding the joy in doing them, not getting so caught up, in the dream, but being a part of the dream, not of the dream. So that's where we're going to continue for the day. And I am sending you a message from Gandhi. Yes. And way to God. So those of you who are new, those of you who are familiar, know that we are a metaphysical channel. We believe in all sources of master ascendant teachers and their works. Obviously, not every single thing does everyone agree with, but we find it within ourselves to siphon out what we don't and let it go, right? And withhold within what we do. So, today's message from our friend, Master Teacher Gandhi: how beautiful it would be if all of us, young and old, men and women, devoted ourselves wholly to truth in all that we might do. Truth in all we might do. Where are we not seeing the truth in what we do, right? Where are we living falsely? Not genuinely who we are, but by others' terms and conditions of who they think we should be, or societies, right? The truth, acceptance. So, moving on to my boyfriend. So, this is toward the psychology of being, right? We're on defense growth notes. In truth, in Gandhi's perspective and my own would be God, right? God is the ultimate truth. For others, it might be our collective consciousness. Here we go. Oh yeah, sorry. I was what I was talking about. If truth equals God, like Gandhi had says, and God is within us, using our eyes to see the world, right? And to see what we see and to experience life through our eyes, each one of us. Then why is truth so hard for us to see personally and to know? What is it that's blocking us? I would say obviously it's conditioning, social conditioning, familiar conditioning, educational conditioning, in my own experience anyway. But paradoxically, that was my question to you. Now we're moving on to my boyfriend. But paradoxically, the art experience cannot be effectively used for this purpose or any other. It must be a purposeless activity. As far as we understand purpose, it can only be an experience in being. Being a human organism doing what it must and what it is privileged to do. Experiencing life keenly and wholly. Expending energy and creating beauty in its own style. And the increased sensitivity, integrity, efficiency, and feeling of well-being are byproducts. So, like we have Freaky Fridays where we are our full self-actualized self and everything we do has our creative signature on it, right? Our mark. From the way we walk and talk and dress to the way we answer the phone, work, text, whatnot, it all has our signature on it. So if you're conscious and aware of what you're doing, it will. The more often you do these things and create, right? Conscious creation. Produce something that's new. Nobody's ever made before. Right? That's where the increased sensitivity, I don't know, maybe that doesn't sound good to some of you, but heightened awareness can help you in your life. Integrity, efficiency, and a feeling of well-being are the byproducts. They come after you can experience the joy of creation. And not basing it on others, right? From the moment the package is in his hands, he feels free to do what he wants with it. The package. Well, I'll just keep reading and you guys will know you're smart. He opens it, speculates on what it is, recognizes what it is, expresses happiness or disappointment, notices the arrangement of the contents, finds a book of directions, feels the touch of the steel, the different weights of the parts and their number, and so on. He does all this before he has attempted to do a thing with the set. Then comes the thrill of doing something with it. It may be only matching one single part with another. Thereby alone, he gets a feeling of having done something, that he can do something, and that he is not helpless with that particular article. Whatever pattern is subsequently followed, whether his interest extends to the full utilization of the set and therefore towards further gaining of a feeling of greater and greater accomplishment, or whether he completely discards it, his initial contact with the erector set has been meaningful. Compared to the results of an active experiencing can be summarized approximately in the following way. There is physical, emotional, and intellectual self-involvement. There is a recondition and further exploration of one's abilities. There is initiation of activity or creativeness. There is finding out one's own pace and rhythm and assumption of enough of a task for one's abilities at that particular time, which would include the avoidance of taking on too much. There is gain in skill which one can apply to other enterprises. And there is opportunity each time that one has an active part in something, no matter how small, to find out more and more what one is interested in. Sorry, I meant compared to this. What's next? The above situation may be contrasted with another in which the person who brings home the erector set says to the child, "Here is an erector set. Let me open it for you." I have been guilty of this, I must say. I mean, I think only when the children were like too young and they got a gift that was way too, and then they could have their job in helping. But I'm sure if you asked my children, they would say I was guilty of this many times. Only with art stuff. Okay. Anyway. "Here is an erector set. Let me open it for you." He does so, and then points out all the things in the box, the book of directions, the various parts, and, to top it off, he sets out building one of the complicated models. Let us say a crane. The child may be interested in what he has seen being done, but let us focus on one aspect of what has really been happening. The child has had no opportunity to get himself involved with the erector set, with his body, his intelligence, or his feelings. He has had no opportunity to match himself up with something that is new for him, to find out what he is capable of, or to gain further direction for his interests. The building of the crane for him may have brought in another factor. It may have left the child with an implied demand that he do likewise without his having an opportunity to prepare himself for any such complicated task. The end becomes the object instead of the experience involved in the process of attaining the object. The objective. Sorry. Also, whatever he may subsequently do by himself will look small and mean compared to what had been made for him by someone else. He has not added to his total experience for coming up against something new for the next time. In other words, he has not grown from within, but has had something superimposed from the outside. Each bit of active experiencing is an opportunity toward finding out what he likes or dislikes, and more what he wants to make out of himself. It is an essential part of his process toward the stage of maturity and self-direction. And we've talked about this many times with my past relationship, right? And how sometimes parents can take away that ability to be mature and be able to have the strength and courage to make decisions and to follow your dreams, passion, goals, and desires if too many things are done for them. If too many of their choices have been taken away for being able to make decisions themselves. It cripples them. The maturity. How is it possible to lose a self? The treachery unknown and unthinkable begins, and I would say that this happens all the time before I begin. If you just think about society, our like adult nature, and the way society as a whole molds people into things that they don't necessarily or are not necessarily internally, how we are willing participants in that at times can break free. That's what we do here. Break free. Find our radical self-love, right? Not codependency. How is it possible to lose a self? The treachery unknown and unthinkable begins with our secret psychic death in childhood. If and when we are not loved and are cut off from our spontaneous wishes. Think what is left. And I would say with myself, I was caught in this for so long. Maybe other people wouldn't think so, but I definitely was. And well, you can read about it in my memoir, The Snake That Never Sheds, like how it all happened. I have to start working on my other book. I mean, it's done. I just need to type it up for the fall release. Sorry. Weird. That's just going through my head, I guess. Think what is left. But wait. Victim might even outgrow it, but it is a perfect double crime in which he himself, it is not just the simple murder of a psyche. That might be written off. The tiny self also gradually and unwittingly takes part. He has not been accepted for himself as he is. Oh, they love him, but they want him or force him or expect him to be different. Therefore, he must be unacceptable. He himself learns to believe it, and at last even takes it for granted. He has truly given himself up. No matter now whether he obeys them, whether he clings, rebels, or withdraws, his behavior, his performance is all that matters. The performance. Right? I know some of you know what I'm talking about. The performance. Well, it says in here, so I'll keep going, so I don't have to explain it. His center of gravity is in them, not himself. Just think of families, right? I mean, how many families work like this? And unhealthy, right? The codependency. Yet, if he so much as noticed it, he'd think it natural enough. And the whole thing is entirely plausible, all invisible, automatic, and autonomous. Sorry, anonymous, not autonomous. This is the perfect paradox. Everything looks normal. No crime was intended. There is no corpse, no guilt. All we can see is the sun rising and setting as usual. But what happened? He has been rejected, not only by them, but by himself. He is actually without a self. What has he lost? Just the one true and vital part of himself, his own yes feeling, acceptance. which is his very capacity for growth, his root system. But alas, he is not dead. Life goes on, and so must he, from the moment he gives himself up, and to the extent that he does so all knowingly, he sets about to create and maintain a pseudo self. But this is an expectancy, a self without wishes. This one shall be loved or feared where he is despised, strong where he is weak. It shall go through the motions. Oh, but they are characters, not for fun or joy, but for survival. Not simply because it wants to move, but because it has to obey. This necessity is not life, not his life. It is a defense mechanism against death. It is also the machine of death. From now on, he will be torn apart by compulsive, unconscious needs, or grounded by unconscious conflicts into paralysis. Every motion and every instant canceling out his being, his integrity, and all the while he is disguised as a normal person and expected to behave like one. So sad. So sad. That's such a large part of our world right now. Not right now, and I know we're breaking out of it. I see it all over, obviously, but it just is so. And because I know so many people like this, and I've loved them, I love them, it's sad to me. Stupid. Allergies. I know. But really, allergies are super bad out here. Last time when I was doing the meditation on Tuesday down there, in the yard, I'm allergic to something so bad that I started crying and I just couldn't stop. And all of a sudden it started raining, so it was like, somebody is watching and helping, huh? Anyway. I really don't want to stop this. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Oh my gosh. Yeah. My eyes started that bawling thing. It's not me. I swear. I literally, I'm super allergic. I'm going to have to go inside and do the rest of my work in there. Anyway, back to my boyfriend. In a word, I saw that we became neurotic, seeking or defending a pseudo-self, a self-system, and we are neurotic to the extent that we are selfless. Right? Selfless, neurotic, you gave up the self. Right? Not selfless work, you gave up the self for others. I think it is possible to apply this general principle to Freudian theory of the progression of the libido stages. The infant in the oral stage gets most of his delights through his mouth, and one in particular, which has been neglected, is that of mastery. We should remember that the only thing an infant can do well and efficiently, is to suckle. In all else he is inefficient, incapable, and if, as I think, this is the earliest precursor, or self-esteem, feeling of mastery, then this is the only way in which the infant can experience the delight of mastery, efficiency, control, self-expression, volation. But soon he develops other capacities for mastery and control. I mean, here not only anal control, which, though correct, has, in my opinion, been overplayed. Motility and sensory capacities also develop enough during the so-called anal stage to give feelings of delight and mastery. But what is important for us here is that the oral infant tends to play out his oral mastery and to become bored with it, just as he becomes bored with milk alone. Well, not my son. I mean, I'm not nursing, obviously. He's 12. That's so funny. Huh. Let's see. Sorry. I just thought that was so funny. I lost where I was. Um, In a free choice situation, he tends to give up the breast and milk in favor of more complex activities and tastes or any way to add to the breast these other higher developments. And actually, I was thinking about my son before when I had read through this, because my youngest, he was nursed, but when my daughter got sepsis, right, the conscious queen, when she was 10, my son had just been born 2 months before that, and he had to go and live with his or stay with his grandma for 2 months while the conscious queen was in a coma, right? And I just wonder if, like, that is why he has such issues with food, right? Because he, like, is so picky beyond belief. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. And literally, he drinks a gallon of milk a day. And I just, yeah, that's the way my brain works. So anyway, moving on. I will have to do some inquiry about this. Is why I'm talking about it. So, given sufficient gratification, free choice, and lack of threat. So, sufficient gratification and then free choice whether to take it or not, right? And lack of threat. He grows out of the oral stage and renounces it himself. He doesn't have to be kicked upstairs or forced on to maturity as if so often implied. He chooses to grow on to higher delights, to become bored with older ones. Only under the impact of danger, threat, failure, frustration, or stress does he tend to regress or fixate. Parents need to hear that. Or bosses, people, in any type of power position. Only under the impact of danger, threat, failure, frustration, or stress does he tend to regress or fixate. In all, not just children. Only then does he prefer safety to growth. Certainly, renunciation. No, it's renunciation. Right? Whatever. Renouncing, right? Rejecting of something, typically a core belief. Delay in gratification, and the ability to withstand frustration are also necessary for strength. And we know that unbridled gratification is dangerous. And yet, it remains true that these qualifications are subsidiary to the principle that sufficient gratification of basic needs is sine qua non. And we know what sine qua non means because it's on my favorite words list. Absolutely necessary. Right? Sine qua non. A kind of pseudo-growth takes place very commonly when the person tries, by repression, denial, reaction formation, etc., to convince himself that an ungratified basic need has really been gratified or doesn't exist. Fake it till you make it. He then permits himself to grow on to higher needs levels, which of course forever after rest on very shaky foundation. I call this pseudo-growth by bypassing the ungratified needs, such as a needs pervasives forever as an unconscious force, repetition, compulsion. I was gonna say, too, in relationships, like that pseudo growth, I think that happens very often, commonly, right? Where the building blocks of the relationship, right? Talking about what these needs are. Well, we know what the needs are because you guys are all, experts, right? Physiological, safety, security, community, and belonging, love, esteem, communication, self-knowing, intuition, oneness, higher connection to source, all these things. If these things are not talked about and you just jump into love and you don't figure out all the building blocks, I mean, here we're just talking about the individual and how complicated it is. But when you go ahead and throw in another individual and then kids, yikes. But that is what we are doing, what I'm going to be working on after this, since I am done with the second version of the motivational map. If you would like to take the assessment, it will still be version 1, but you can do that at goddess.ibodme@gmail.com. I think it's goddess. I think it's ibodme. I think so. Yeah, it's not just ibod. It's ibodme. Anyway, but so that's what I'm going to be working on, just some content for their site, but also on there I will have solo single support. I will have radical self-love classes, and you can test out as a expert in radical self-love, as well, to give coaching in it if you would like to take that course when it comes out, and then my couples courses. So the couples courses are definitely going to be, ooh, I see a cardinal. The couples courses are definitely going to be focused still on self-love. Like, I promote healthy solos, strong solos, so that we can have a strong union that is built on 2 solid pillars, right? And the way to build that foundation is by examining, well, where your motivations all lie in each of our sectors, right? And how we can compensate when your motivations do not align perfectly, right? So, and you always need to have like bigger pictures to me. What are your goals together, right? So you have your radical self-love, that we let go of shame, guilt, have full forgiveness and compassion for the self, so you can offer that to the other, right? You're no longer conditioned into jealousy or any of that crap anymore, because you understand you're all in your own lane. There is no competition. If you're dealing with someone who can't see that, then you know what to do. And And if you don't, then you come join the solo singles support and I will help you. Or experts will, not necessarily me, but my videos will. Yeah, so it's pretty cool, everything we have going on. And if you would like to go and visit any of the chat rooms, you can go to ibodme.com. ibodme.com. So, well, that was fun for today. I do love my boyfriend, and I love all of you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and, you know, learning about how we can best support the self and therefore the collective for self-transcendence. So, love you all so much. Damn body. I hope you're all having a gorgeous day. Ciao, ciao for now. Goodness.